Hey everybody, just a quick video today about, I guess, a bit of a review for the exam that's coming up very soon. I know a lot of people are probably already deep in study and getting very nervous as it's coming toward the exam, but I thought I'd go over a few points that a lot of students make mistakes on, and it may just give you some ideas on how to increase your score on the final exam. We're going to take a look at just the FRQs in general, and then we'll take a look at maybe some exam specific things and specific things about this exam, which is the 2020 exam coronavirus affected, which is only going to have FRQs. But we'll get to that a bit later. Let's look at FRQs in general. Okay. Now, I'm sorry I don't have examples for all these things, but didn't quite have enough time. But this is meant to be a quick video just to put you on the right track. The first thing is take care of edge cases. Whenever you're doing an FRQ, you will have cases where there may be a 0, or there may be a time when you get to the end of an array. These are what's known as the edge cases, which will be the boundaries of where your loop runs, or what will happen when can the thing be a negative number, what will happen if it's a 0, that kind of thing. This is a way to go through your code and check it, make sure it handles things properly, because these are usually where things break down. If you're going to lose any points, it's going to be because not the middle of your loop. The middle of your loop will be the same probably as the rest of your loop, but it's in the edge cases. Sometimes a 0 can mess everything up, especially if you're dividing. Second thing, watch the boundaries on your loops. Kind of similar vein to the last point, but when you're doing a loop, and especially a for loop, and not an enhanced for loop, but a regular one, you want to make sure that you've got your boundary correct and that you're doing the loop correctly, all right? So whether you're starting at 1 or 0, usually you'll be starting at 0, but there's some cases you might need to start at 1. Make sure you're not going too far over the end, otherwise you're going to get boundary errors. Arrays. Definitely going to have arrays on the exam, so make sure you know them correctly. Don't get mixed up between array lists and array. Try and refer to them correctly and reference them correctly. Now, this is an important one. Declare something and initialize it. When you have things like an array list of objects in the beginning, it may be declared. You may have array list pizzas, and it's an array list of pizzas. But unless you've got array list pizzas equals new array list pizzas, it's not initialized. So far, when you just have the declaration, it just tells you, okay, there's something going to be there, but the thing doesn't exist yet. You need to have this, and there will be points given for this very thing. Next, private instance variables. You want to make sure that your instance variables in the class are set to private. 99% of the time, you're going to want them private. You don't want to have public instance variables. There may be a small case when you do want them, but for this purpose and to make sure that you understand the goal of encapsulation and information hiding is you want them private, okay? So make them explicitly private and get yourself another point. And the final point about just FRQs in general is don't overcomplicate things. You should have a Java quick reference. And the Java quick reference is a sheet of paper which is at the back of the AP guide. And it has a list of all the methods that you really need for this exam. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't use other methods, and you are welcome to use them. It's certainly not, you wouldn't be able to survive in Java very long if you only use those, but this exam is simplified Java, and it's not going to be too complicated. What it needs you to do is use those methods and know which one to use, right? It's like your toolbox. The methods in the Java quick guide, the quick reference, sorry, those are the methods which are your tools for this exam, and you should be able to, if you use them each really well, you should be able to write pretty simple code which gets the job done. So don't make it too complicated. It's only going to make it harder to mark and therefore harder to give you the points. Alright, now let's take a look at the exam, okay? The first point is watch the time, okay? You're only going to get 40 minutes or however long it is to do the exam. Now, in that time, you have to do a lot. So just watch that you're answering the questions in the right time and don't run out of time, right? Now, there's going to be more questions this year than you can do. It's pretty clear that they want to just see that you can do the work, and you got to be sure, right, that you're doing good work, not that you're trying to finish everything and do a little bit on each. You just got to try and do the best work you can on the questions you can, okay? So don't worry too much. There will be more questions you can do. What matters is you answer the best you can, then allow 5 minutes to check everything and submit your work. That's the most important, okay? Don't wait until the last second. It could incur a penalty, or worse, you don't submit and nothing goes through. That would be the worst, okay? So don't let that happen. Don't ride the clock up until the last second. What happens if there's a connection error? What happens if the thing is just not responding properly, right? There's so many things that can go wrong. Don't allow the chance for that to happen. And just remember, you're not meant to finish, but demonstrate your knowledge. That's what you're meant to be doing. All right. Next point. Don't Google. You can Google, but I would recommend don't Google. The reason is the time is limited. Make it count. You should be hitting that and doing the work, and you should know this stuff already. You should be in the position where, okay, I know what to do, I know my tools, I've got my reference, and just go about solving the problem. If you're looking for code, it's going to eat time. And maybe you won't even get a right answer at the end of it. You may just get confused and panic. So I wouldn't go down that rabbit hole. I would just really, if you, I know you have access to it, but it will take precious minutes of your time. Now, College Board have mixed up their questions this year, so each student may get different questions from each other. And they're pretty aware. I think College Board have made a blog post this year about how they're aware of cheating or people attempting to cheat. So they're going to do what they can to make this harder in certain ways. One is by making it longer, and the other thing is by mixing up the questions. So you won't have the same number one as other people. So just make it about you and the exam. And I think that that'll be the best way. Have confidence in yourself, calm your mind, and just remember your lessons. Okay, now, nerves. It's very normal. Everyone has nerves, okay? This is a normal part of life. And if someone tells you I'm not nervous, I'm pretty sure they're lying. The goal is you practice something enough, it becomes somewhat automatic. You don't have to think as much about it, right? You should recognize things and be like, okay, I know this question is asking for this type of thing, this type of answer. And so you'll become comfortable. Remember, the exam is just the same concepts that you've studied. You've done this over and over again, but it's going to be in a different format, something that you don't recognize, right, immediately. But the idea is to remember the concept behind it. Take your time, don't rush. Choose the right tool, then proceed. Speak for yourself, right? Now, again, your Java quick reference, that's your toolbox. You should know how to use all those tools now. So just take your time, plot it out. Not too slow, but it's still, just because you don't have enough time doesn't mean just start typing as fast as you can, because planning out how you're going to answer is going to save you time. So make sure you're doing that. Now, practice exam 2020 is going to be very similar as this year's exam, I think. It should be. There will be obviously differences, but the formatting and everything should be kind of similar. So make sure you're doing these practice exams, go back. The questions are going to be in the same kind of format, different subject, different scenario that you'll have to solve, but there's only so many things that we're learning, and there's only so many ways you can put this stuff together. So don't stress too much. Just be ready. Okay. Don't forget your ticket. You'll need your ticket. You'll get that 2 days before. Make sure your email address is up to date. You should be receiving those pretty soon. And apart from that, good luck. I think that's all I need to say for that. But it's just going to be a little bit of a weird time, maybe depending on where you are in the world. But do your best, enjoy it, and I wish you all the best results.